Alright, Jungle Bob back. Okay, as you can see, I've got the head back on and it's torqued down. Now here's the torque sequence. This is what comes in a little manual. That'd be your torque sequence for the head on this. Alright, and it's in two increments, 180 inch-pounds and then 360 inch-pounds. So if you don't have a inch-pound torque wrench, just divide that by 12 and it'll give you the foot-pounds. And guys, you can do it without a torque wrench. If you've been doing it long enough, you kind of get a feel for it. But trust me, you don't want to over tighten it because it'll snap off inside the head, inside the block, and then you've created a whole world of other problems. So be very careful not to over tighten and snap it off. But that's it. So the next step is going to be putting the push rods back in. Right, and so I didn't mention this before, but when you're taking this apart, if you're not putting new push rods in, try to remember which, you need to remember which one came out of the intake, which one came out of the exhaust. I don't believe on these Kohlers they're any different. On a Briggs, the intake side's aluminum and the exhaust is steel. But still, you want to make sure that you put them back because that's where the wear has already occurred. And in the same position, and you can see that it always puts a little groove right up in there where it's going through the valve guide, push rod guide. But and also you want to take and put you a little dab of grease on these tips down here, and then when you're poking it back in the hole down here, it's going to fit when it goes in. You can not be able to see this on the camera, but this is where it goes in at, like this. And when you get it down in there, you want to feel that you're on the tappet. And you kind of just get a feel for it. You'll know when it's in there but you want to be lined up in. There's a little ball, because they've got little ball ends on them. Let's see how that little ball end. Well, on the other end down there, there's a little cup on the tappet that call them the lifters in a car, whatever you want to call them, tappet lifters. But that's where that's got to seat into, and you want to make sure. And then when you're hooking your rocker back up, you got to make sure this stays in place, because if it's not there, when you try to crank it, it's going to break this push rod. But after we get these back on and the rocker covers back on, then you just take and manually turn the flywheel here and make sure everything's operating. Go a couple, 3 times around, make sure they're seated right and everything's working G-haw. And then you want to go to top dead center and then adjust your valves to what the spec is. And I believe on this engine here, the intake is 5 thousandths and the exhaust is 7 thousandths. So you have to get your feeler gauge, and adjust it. And then once we get that done, we're going to come back and we'll put the valve cover on. All right, Jungle Bob out.